We argued last week about the Celtics being a final sleeper. The Nuggets are the final sleeper in the NBA when you have an all-time great having a potential back-to-back MVP season, getting their second and third best players back. Yes, Nikola Jokic is the MVP favorite with 1 month heading into the final stretch of the season.
I cannot remember, and there's usually two guys that are in an MVP race that we're kind of deciding between very late in the season. Somebody can make a late push. But right now, with the three guys, it felt like at the beginning, this is going to be an amazing race. At the beginning of the season, Embiid got all the narrative. Embiid. We even talked about it going into the All-Star break. Probably his to lose, as he is the one that is the favorite right now. Jokic was still getting love, but now I feel like this last week or so, he's totally flipped it. And while Embiid is still playing great and putting up big numbers, the Jokic thing has gained a lot more steam, and that's because of these back-to-back performances. I watched the one against the Pelicans the other night, and he did it again, monster performance against the Warriors last night. 2 games in a row, and that's coming off of an overtime game against the Pelicans. But, Kevin, there's no bad choices. Let's just be clear on this, okay? There's no bad choices in this. But I got to tell you, when I was watching him the other night, there was a moment where I was watching that game where I thought to myself, nobody else could do this. Nobody. It was Austin Rivers, Aaron Gordon, Monty Morris, and Jeff Green. Will Barton had twisted his ankle. So that's who he's out there with. He's the guy to worry about. Many possessions, they're bringing a second guy on him. He's knocking down threes. He's going to the basket and bashing Valanciunas into the third row, bloodying his lip. He's hitting shots from the elbow. I mean, it was from under the basket out to 35 feet. And I tweeted, this guy is a force of nature. Like, from under the basket, unstoppable, elbow, unstoppable, and then he was knocking down threes. There was one possession, he grabbed it off the rim and drove 94 feet and laid it in. And I'm thinking about, and he had 30 points in the fourth quarter and overtime combined. My son has him on his fantasy team, and we were watching that game, and he looks over at me, he goes, Dada, and I said, what? He goes, Jokic has 160 fantasy points. I said, what? He said, I've never seen that in my life. 160. And I'm like, well, I never seen anything like this dude in my life. Like, it's we always argue about definition of most valuable. But let me tell you this. Ain't nobody doing what that dude's doing with those other 4 guys.
Nobody.
I love John Morant, and John Morant got some love, especially after his 52-point game. I ain't trying to watch John Morant with Austin Rivers, Aaron Gordon, and Jeff Green, and Monty Morris. Like, Kevin, he has flipped that narrative, and I think rightfully so. I would encourage anybody that, is not a believer, just watch who he's out there with. Austin Rivers has been bought out of damn near every contract he's ever had. Aaron Gordon's, good role player. Monty Morris is, I don't want to say replacement level, but I mean, he's a backup point guard, probably, on a really good team. Jeff Green, again, another buyout guy. It's freaky, man. Freaky what this guy is doing with who he's doing it with. I don't know if anybody else, if you could put them in his spot and them have the success that they've had. I doubt.
Hell no. There's no chance because with Jokic, he is his own. Like that. There's never been anybody who does all of the things that Jokic does. Like Jokic is such a unusual, unique player, really in the history of the league. the way in which that he operates on the court. And with him doing everything that he's doing this season and doing it the way in which he did, he wins MVP last year with a historic offensive season. This season, he's even slightly better offensively. He's even way better, notably better defensively. He has become a more well-rounded, complete player after winning MVP. Him doing it in the way in which that he has this year, with Michael Porter Jr. struggling earlier in the year with his injury, then getting sidelined. Jamal Murray still out the entire year, recovering from his torn ACL surgery. For the Nuggets, you just mentioned that coveted sixth spot in both conferences. For the Denver Nuggets to be sixth in the West right now, even with a chance to move all the way up to 4, slim chance to get up to 3 right now, it speaks to Jokic's greatness and his ability to lift up his teammates. All those names you listed, all those guys, Austin Rivers, whether it's Bones Highland, DeMarcus Campazzo, like now you get even Boogie. Granted, he's not sharing the court with Denver, but like he's still on that roster coming off the bench. Bryn Forbes. I mean, like it's a lot of different types of names on this Denver Nuggets roster, and yet they're still beating really great teams every night. It's because there are no answers for Nikola Jokic. There's no answers with him on the post. There's no answers anywhere.
Roster, if you replaced him with just a dude, just a guy, like a replacement level player,
they're probably bottom 5.
The team wins 15 games.
Yeah, they're bottom 5, exactly. But with Jokic, there's no answers. Like if you post up Jokic, I was looking at this last night because on Wednesday with the episode of The Void, I have talking to somebody about the Nuggets and about Jokic. And I was looking at this last night because with Jokic this year, if you look at the most frequent post-up players, Jokic is the number 1 in most efficiency. If you remove the passes from all of the post-ups, he's still number 1 in post efficiency. So if you're looking purely as a scorer on the post, Jokic is number 1 ahead of Embiid. If you're including the passes, which he's better than anybody at doing, he's number 1 ahead of Embiid. He's one of the best shooters as a big man from the perimeter. He's one of the best at attacking closeouts. He's one of the best everywhere on the court on offense. Everywhere, no matter what action, coming off of screens, coming off of handoffs, running pick and roll himself. You could put him anywhere on the court and he can make a play for himself or for his teammates. And this is a guy that you watch defenses react to him where they're throwing help, they're throwing doubles. Sometimes they're not doubling. It doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't matter. He finds a way. And this Nuggets team, if they're able to get Jamal Murray down the stretch, if they're able to get Michael Porter Jr., to me, they are, like we argued last week about the Celtics being a final sleeper. The Nuggets are the final sleeper in the NBA when you have an all-time great having a potential back-to-back MVP season, getting their second and third best players back. Yes, Nikola Jokic is the MVP favorite with 1 month heading into the final stretch of the season.